It's shiny. It's awesome. It's cool. It's a piece
Good.
of hardware that I can give for my baby boy.
Porque eu não comi nada antes.
You know,
Não comi nada. Eu
absolutely.
vim treinar.
Hold on, I'm talking, brother. 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 Hold on, I'm talking, brother.
Hello, and welcome back to Hold On, I'm Talking, Brother. My name is Joe Greenwood, and you are listening to our UFC 265 preview. And as per usual, I am joined by my regular co-host, Tom Ballum. Tom, out in the Icelandic wilderness, how are you?
What's up, Joey? Yeah, I'm ticking along out here. Happy to be nourished by some more UFC.
Although I will say a couple of these recent cards have been a bit snooze fests, shall we say. Makachev Moises being a particularly bad one anyway. But never mind that in the past. Let's talk about the present. UFC 265. Super hyped for this card. Oh, actually, Tom, sorry, I skipped over something. UFC 264. We haven't spoken since then. How should we put it? You had an absolute shitter on this card, did you not, with your predictions?
I did.
How many points did you get?
I've dusted it away and put it behind me now. I don't want to reflect too much on that. I guess the wilderness, the isolation. You know, like I'm not feeling the vibe in the streets. I'm not getting the chatter in the hushed corridors that comes with living in urbanity. I've taken some time away to reflect on that. And whilst I'm not happy, I'm hoping lessons have been learned.
Yes, if you conceive it, if you believe it, you can achieve it. Did you see Vitor Belfort drop that the other day? Sincerely as well. He did it in a sincere...
Oh, no.
Yes, he did.
Oh, no.
He's got that
CTE.
Yeah. Ah, yes. Anyway.
Wait, what was it in reference to?
He's fighting Oscar De La Hoya.
Oh, God.
So he's...
CTE.
Double CTE. A very grim experience we're going to see there. But yeah, anyway, let's go back to UFC 264 very quickly, because we haven't spoken since we previewed it. It's been pretty ugly, I've got to say. It's been a very unpleasant... For a sport where it's two people fighting in a cage, for me to go like, this has been a bit unpleasant, is really something.
Yeah, I mean, it started in the pre-fight press conference when with the whole Jolie's wife
saying that basically she wears the trousers. I love Poirier's response of him. He posted a picture of him going to the press conference with his wife, and he said, like, on the way there with my husband. And then it's just like, that's a good response. It's funny that a guy who's not known for being a great trash talker had the best lines in that press conference.
It's a damning indictment of Conor. I don't know what was up. You know,
yeah.
I think your boy, Mixed Molly Rothery, he put out a video on it, and there was reasons.
Fantastic video, by the way.
Yeah, recommendation there, guys. Go check that out. If you're not totally sated by Hold On, I'm Talking, Brother, then you are, of course, in the minority.
Of course. I would highly recommend
some extra content.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend that. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's going to happen it happens with every athlete, really, who get to the absolute pinnacle, is that the longer you stay around, the more likely you're going to get caught up and then overtaken. And not only has he been overtaken in the cage, he's been overtaken verbally as well.
He's been overtaken, mate, because he put on a handbrake and stop using the engine. It wasn't, he was just off the pace from that moment. But we did have different feelings actually about the fight, and we haven't really got into that.
Yeah, go on.
Just to set up my straw man. Well, I mean, you thought that Poirier well and truly bested him. It was 10-8, and it was Conor was
maybe not a 10-8, but it was a beating for me.
Yeah, I certainly I didn't leave with that impression.
What did you?
I thought. I thought it was competitive. Conor made a mistake. I can't explain why he tried to lock in that guillotine, but he did. And then off his back, he did offer quite a lot. You know, I don't think he was just staying there and getting beaten. I thought he was offering some good offense off his back.
Yeah, he was cheating there, wasn't he, with the grabbing of the gloves and all that. But then also, I guess that's gamesmanship within the sport. Depends on how much you really want to go into those things. I felt like that fight was going to go one way, and I don't know if you think that as well, but I can't really tell with you.
No, I don't think that was conclusive. I don't think that. I mean, I'm not saying that I need to see a third fight between them necessarily.
Fourth.
But I fourth.
Yes. I mean, if Poirier wins that title, he's getting a fourth McGregor fight. He should campaign for a fourth McGregor fight as well. If I'm him.
I mean, it's certainly the moment for me where I hope, we'll see if this fourth fight does roll around, but I hope I have now left McGregor in the past and accepted that time has moved on, because it was disgraceful post fight.
Yeah, it was awful. You know, no humility to the man, which maybe that's one thing, having that sort of reaction, but like to say I'll get you in your sleep. And about his wife as well, and it's like, and you know that this guy has got dodgy connections in Ireland, you know, and it's like, well, hold on, is that an actual legitimate threat that you've made to this guy? That's one thing that you could put at it, but it was just pathetic, wasn't it? His leg had broken, and he was on the ground yelling at
surreal scenes. Really.
Yeah,
crazy. Should he have been interviewed?
Yes.
Of course he should. Like,
yeah, this is, of course, we're talking money.
This is what
here.
we love to hate about the UFC, or love to be shocked by, right? I mean,
of course,
it's. I don't think you can defend it in kind of like sporting terms, but in terms of the theatre of it.
It does slightly bug me that it takes away a bit of Poirier's shine. You know, going into this Oliveira fight now, where people are still going to be talking about this McGregor. You know, no one's talking about what Poirier did in that fight against McGregor. He was It's weird, but Poirier's boxing was better than McGregor in this fight. I thought. Maybe I'm looking way too much into it, but I didn't feel like McGregor landed any clean, huge punches that were going to damage, that were going to knock him out. And anything he did land, it seemed like Poirier seemed not unfazed per se, but like wasn't really doing the damage that they would have once done.
I mean, there's certainly something to be said about Conor's aura having been, well and truly lost now. But I really think that's a stretch to say that this was not a competitive first round and that Conor didn't do any damage. I thought Conor looked really good off his back. Eventually, Poirier did overwhelm him and land some huge shots, not like decisive fight-ending shots. Not that I think Conor would have been neutralised and there was nothing more to come in the second round. But he won the round, definitely. But that was based off a mistake from Conor, a bizarre mistake. I don't know what.
Still made it, didn't he? Like you have to.
Yeah, but would you say that Poirier forced him into that? McGregor panicked. I mean,
yeah, I would say so. Like he's gone into that attack. He wants to attack, and the reason why he's attacked is from what Poirier's doing. For me, it felt desperate. Like.
Oh no, I don't agree.
It definitely felt desperate, and also you're doing it on a guy who's good at guillotines. Like it's not going to work. And then this will be the last thing I say about this: the utterly bizarre comments from McGregor's coach, going like, "Yeah, this is the plan. We were going to knock him out in a second." It's like, I don't know, man. Like he should be not saying anything, and they should be thinking of a plan of actually improving this guy. But anyway, that's the last word that I've got to say on it, really. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to talk about it more. Do you want to see a fourth? No. Do I want to see a fourth? No. I mean, Conor needs to do a lot. If unless he's going to fade into just this kind of Nate Diaz silly prize fighter.
Fight,
and he already is that.
If he wants to do something weird, fight Masvidal as well. I mean, or someone like.
Who you got there?
What against Masvidal? Yeah, I think Masvidal murders him, but like,
I think he smokes him.
Yeah, he beats him everywhere. But that's a fight you could make. I mean, it depends. I think Masvidal should fight Edwards next, and I don't know. I think if he loses to Edwards, you could do a Nate Diaz rematch or Conor fight. You know, there's always stuff with Masvidal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm more interested in watching Masvidal than Conor. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure. One feels like he could still be a contender at maybe. Not if Usman's champion, obviously, but we'll see what happens in November. Anyway, let's get on to the good shit. UFC 265.
Can I just, for the people who've got this far, Joe and I, we had a big talk coming into this podcast about getting it in under an hour. That's there it is. Joe's got it written down. Stay on track. Those are the only notes going into today. How many minutes are we into now, Joe?
10 minutes into this. So...
Premium content.
All right, let's get into this now.
UFC 265.
UFC 265, Houston, Texas. Lewis versus Gane. Interim heavyweight title on the line. We no longer have Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena. I almost said Raquel Pennington, but that's really not what we want to see. Me and Tom are going to lay down our predictions. If we get the winner, 1 point, and if we get the method correct, it's 2 points. Obviously, we'll only know this come Sunday morning, but let me tell you, I am excited for this. And as the defending champion, well, the new champion, you're only a champion truly once you defend your belt.
Yes.
And let me tell you,
pick you up on that, Joe.
And let me tell you, a draw counts as a defense. I want that out there. So we're getting into Mourinho-style picks here.
All right.
Dealer's choice here. Tom, I'm going to ask you first. Song Yadong, Casey Kenny, bantamweight. Let's get this out on the line, by the way. Me and Tom have said this for a year. No one's seen it, but we've said it for a year. Bantamweight, one of the best divisions in the UFC, and I'm saying it now, and you're going to agree with me. The best division in MMA right now.
It's official. It's official. It's so hot, Joe. Like everywhere you look, there's new fellas stepping out of the sidelines, stepping out of the shadows. You get one emerging mega contender in Kyler Phillips. He gets chopped down by Piver.
A flyweight.
Like it's just some dude out of nowhere comes and ends his run. When was that?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. It's a jungle out there, Joe.
I think.
And Song Yadong has already met that fate. Just to cut you off. Sorry, Song Yadong was looking hot. Got through a bit of a controversial one against Chito Vera, who's also had his hype train derailed, and now Song is going out there to do the same to Casey Kenny. But I mean, not that there's that much bubbling away there with Casey Kenny.
Casey Kenny's a great example of this. I think in another division, Casey Kenny would be a ranked fighter. I think, and he's not even ranked in the UFC right now. He's outside the top 15. He just fought Dominic Cruz, lost a decision to him, but gave Cruz problems. And I know Cruz isn't the fighter he once was, but Kenny still, it was a very competitive, entertaining fight for me. I enjoyed it anyway. How these two match up, by the way, mostly on the feet, aren't they? They're not really a takedown sort of fighters. Southpaw for Kenny, orthodox versus Yadong. So they're going to be right next to each other the whole time. Oh, no, hold on. My mistake. They're going to be standing on each other's front foot the whole time, I should say. It's going to leave a lot of open kicks to the body for someone to exploit there. Their output is pretty much similar, about 4.5 strikes per minute, but Kenny absorbs at 4.5 and Yadong absorbs at 3.5. Not really many takedowns. Kenny's takedown accuracy is very low. So again, we're expecting this to stay on the feet, aren't we, Tom?
I think so, Joe. I think so. That is at least what I'm orientating my predictions around.
Oh my God! You've got a prediction locked and loaded for us?
I think so.
Go for it.
I think so. I mean, I've written it down, so I've signed up.
That means it's real.
It's a bit of a pick'em. The odds makers have got it like that. They've got Kenny slight favourite going in there.
Is he?
Kenny, of course, yeah, he's slight favourite. Yeah, I mean it's almost pick'em evens, but
that's interesting.
Slight edge given. It is interesting. There's a few of them.
Go on then. So tell me who you've gone for.
So, I mean, like you say, they match up well. We expect them to be trading. So it's about who has the more volume, who has the more quality shots as well. That blend of quality and quantity. I expect Song to yet land with more quantity, and that's actually what's led me to picking him by decision.
That's interesting. I've also picked Yudong, but I've gone for KO with him.
What have you seen, Joe? What have you seen in Kenny? You seen a weakness?
It's not that I've seen a weakness. The only weakness that I think he has is that I think he's a bit too hittable. And I remember that Dominic Cruz fight. Like, he got landed on quite a bit by Cruz, who busted him up a bit. I mean, Cruz doesn't.
He got beaten by volume against Cruz, and I expect that to be the path for Song to.
And that's partly my issue here is that, Kenny doesn't have any finishes in the UFC apart from a guillotine, and I don't expect Yadong to get choked out here, considering he is trained by Uriah Faber, very wrestling-heavy group that he trains in as well. And the fact that Kenny got pieced up as much as he did, even though it was a split decision loss, so it was very close, but this is Dominic Cruz, who's not really known for his knockout power. I feel like Yadong's going to carry a lot more into this from there. And I remember, I think it was against Chito Vera. I think he landed some like really devastating sort of shots to Vera. But obviously, me and you are a big fan of Chito. Was able to walk through them as best he could. By the way, that is a cracking fight. That is worth rewatching, no matter who you are.
Listeners, Joe has offered me up an absolute doozy here. That's a free point for me, as far as I'm concerned. You have just explained it yourself that Kenny, he's not been stopped. He's eaten a load of shots. He's absorbed 4.5 strikes. Is it that minute?
Per minute.
Per minute. So the man eats shots for breakfast.
Yeah, but he's...
Hence we've got Song Yadong decision. Yeah. Money in the bank. Bring it on. Tisha Torres, Angela Hill. Thanks for that one, Joe.
By the way,
I'll cash out. I'll cash out there.
Just also want to point out Casey Kenny's other loss in the UFC to the next bantamweight champion, Merab Dvalishvili, or a future bantamweight champion, I must say. That man is terrifying. Anyway, Tisha Torres, Angela Hill. Any thoughts, Tom? On sorry, this is unfair. This is really unfair.
It is.
It is unfair. It's two veterans who Angela Hill went on a bit of a run. Was it 2019? She had like 5 fights in the year, something crazy like that, and I think she won 4 and lost 1 of them.
Joe, Angela Hill has lost 9 fights and she's won 13.
I thought she went on a run in like 2019, or she got like.
That may well be the case, but that record speaks volumes. Whereas Tisha Torres, 12-5, these women, they've been getting beat a lot.
Yeah, there's not a lot that really inspires me with this fight. Is that, I mean, the problem is that with women's strawweight, and you're seeing it now, is that people like Angela Hill were kind of there towards the beginning of the division in a way. Like 2016, 2017 was when it started to sort of like come through. As was Tisha Torres as well. Who, actually, this is the second time they're fighting. She beat Angela Hill in her debut, sorry. But you're starting to see like some of these names get slightly like phased out, and it's hard to get excited against people like for Tisha Torres and Angela Hill, because essentially what you're seeing is, all right, who's going to win this fight, right? And then which up and comer are they going to lose to in their next fight?
Yeah. The sport is evolving before our eyes, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
Thank God, Joe. Let's not be bummed out about that.
Well, we saw it a couple of weeks ago with that Miranda Maverick Macy Barber fight. The sort of future
some bullshit right there.
Major bullshit right there. Future of flyweight there. But as you could see, there's greater quality starting to come through.
Yes, 100%.
By the way, what's funny about that, the rankings came out the Monday after that fight, and Maverick and Barber were both moved up the rankings, and Maverick was still ahead of her. So justice for Miranda.
UFC. Yeah.
Can I put my prediction out there for you?
Give it to me.
Angela Hill decision.
Oh, what's different?
I like her. I like her.
First time.
I just like her. I think she's a nice person. That's fine. That's all I've got.
Mate,
that's all I've got.
I can counter that.
Go on.
With the fact that I did some preparation for this fight, and I watched interviews with both of these ladies, and I decided that I prefer Tisha Torres. And therefore, she will win by decision.
I just want the listeners to know this, is that me and Tom are not misogynists, right?
Oh, Jesus
right? It's hard, man. It's hard to get excited about these two fighting. But if you give us who's two women strawweights that we like? Oh, here's a good example. The return of Tatiana Suarez, which is sadly being postponed again. Her return, she's coming back at flyweight, and this could actually be the person to dethrone Valentina Shevchenko. That is a person that you can get excited about. Zhang Weili is a person you can get excited about. As we said, Maverick and Barber. Jessica Andrade was someone that we were excited about going into that Valentina fight until she got schooled. There's just nothing really there for these two women in the future that I'm that excited for, and I think that is a fair thing to say, really. And really, let's put it out there: Fiziev versus Green. Fiziev versus Green should be on this card on the pay-per-view, and not this. But we're not misogynist.
Joe's adjusting his t-shirt and red in the face as he says that. Sweat is dripping. I think you covered it, mate. I think the listeners know.
Okay.
You've protested.
Doth protest too much. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
mate, I think it's a bit of a damning indictment when you can say you're not excited about a fight and it becomes you feel defensive about that because it might be motivated for other reasons.
Well, it's not. It's definitely not for other reasons though, because it's on. If there was two, if there were two strawweight contenders fighting each other, I'd be like, okay, I'm into this fight. But anyway, sorry, go on.
Well, no, just that, mate. I mean, there are plenty of fights out there to be excited about. It's okay to not be excited about others.
Yeah, of course.
We talked about the sport evolving and developing, and we're both looking forward to seeing that happen and enjoy the glimpses we get of it now.
Yeah, of course, of course. And look, and when we get to it with the main event, it's not as if every division is super stacked and women's strawweight and women's bantamweights are the crappy ones. Men's heavyweight is pretty poor, to be honest with you. But we'll get to that a bit later. It's not just we're not just dumping on this because it's women's MMA. We're not even dumping on this. We're just saying it's hard to get excited about something where there's not much to get excited about. Anyway, let's get about.
Still protesting.
Let's get excited. Two boys, two super boys, and your main boy, can I say, Michael Chiesa versus Vicente Luque. Oh my days! Is this actually the fight I'm most excited about? I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is.
All right.
I think
all right.
This is. I'm very excited for this.
Set it up for us then, Joe.
Michael Chiesa. How would you have described my past opinions of Michael Chiesa? Agnostic at best.
Yes, definitely neutral.
Whereas you, on the other hand, have always been a bit of a Michael Chiesa fanboy. At least
hold up.
It's true.
I mean, I've just been, in my bit to try to raise the level of the podcast. I've been giving you a little bit of cues, a bit of tips, who to look out for. Trying to give you a push along, kind of like the women's MMA. Joe, he's in development. He's growing into the sport. And what I was trying to say to you, Joe, is watch out for Michael Chiesa. That boy can wrestle. He can smother, and he's a problem. And I think that has been shown now. He's come to pass.
I think he's the real deal now. And when you first went up to welterweight, you were on him, and you were saying this guy looks great at welterweight, and I was a bit like, yeah. Who's he beat? and then he beat Carlos Condit, who, I mean, we both love Carlos Condit, but it's Carlos Condit in 2018. You know, not really the man we want. Diego Sanchez, okay, doing whatever it is he's doing right now. I dread to imagine. Although he didn't finish Diego Sanchez, which is weird. RDA, where he smothered him, like, was just completely and utterly dominant. And then the one that, I mean, that got me on side with Chiesa. I loved his call out of that fight of Colby Covington as well. Really like that. But it's the Neil Magny one where he was so utterly dominant against Magny that I had to be like, this guy's an actual contender now. And I'm going to say it, whoever wins this fight, I think is one fight away from a title shot.
One fight away from a title shot.
If they win this.
Yeah. Okay.
If they win this.
Okay. So they enter that zone with Leon Edwards and
you enter the Edwards Burns zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to argue against that. You know, I think it's ranked 5th versus ranked 6th. Both of them on good streaks now with notable wins under their belts. So definitely hard to argue against that. I've certainly got no desire in doing so. That being said, I was going to say I'm not super excited about those prospective matchups higher up.
What do you mean? Wait, hold on. So, okay, let's say Chiesa wins this fight, and then he goes on to fight Gilbert Burns. You wouldn't be excited for that?
I would. Of course I would. I guess, I guess maybe they don't have quite the star profile. But, you know,
but welterweight's
that big.
Welterweight's a bit thin at the moment, though. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, you've got Usman.
Jorge, Colby, Usman.
Colby's not a star. Not to me.
No, I mean not a star, but he's a putter. Like
he's a player.
Let's not go down that road.
Well, yeah. We'll save that for November, but there's a lot to be said about Colby Covington, about even if he deserves a title shot, really. But yeah, I think these guys. I think if they win this fight, they could possibly set up a fight for the end of the year, to then maybe get a title shot next year.
I guess my point is, you know, Colby has a profile, right?
Yeah.
And Luque, of course, has earned his plaudits with the real fans out there.
Well,
couldn't have done more.
I'm sorry, if you don't like Vicente Luque, I've got a problem with you, because this man is carnage on wheels. Like, he is a madman. He's had in his fights in the UFC, in his wins. He has, I can't even count the wins, that's how many there are. He's only had one decision win, and it was a split decision against Mike Perry, right? I don't know if you remember that fight. That was the fight where Perry's nose went from one side of his face to the other. Yeah. But he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 finishes in the UFC.
Phenomenal.
That is boy central. I love Vicente Luque. Really beautiful strike, crisp boxing. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, no doubt. His record is you cannot argue with it at all. I guess the only thing, just drawing it back, like, you know, if you're going to pin on some like big personality or some story, or you know, that's not like, it's always can be the same with Brazilians, and it's just it doesn't have the profile. That's all I'm saying. Of course, I would be excited for those matchups should he prevail.
Of course. I mean, Luque can't fight Burns because they're in the same camp. They have the same head coach and all that, which is actually Usman's former head coach, Henry Hooft. There was a question that I had before we recorded about one of these fights, and you said you knew which fight it was. It was this fight that I was thinking of. Do you know what the question is?
Yeah. Remind me again. You were saying like
there was what?
Oh yeah, there was no like Luque's not fought any wrestlers outside Balat. Was that...
No, that wasn't it. But that's actually very interesting now that you've mentioned that.
Yeah, they've just been matching them up for bangers, dude. Like, let me just reel off some names here. Nico fucking Price, Brian Barberena, and Mike Perry. What do those three have in common? I mean, Jesus Christ.
That is a very good point. Actually, Chiesa's really his first wrestler in a very long time, actually. Bilal Muhammad, as he said, which was, 2016?
That's back in 2016, yeah. And it didn't really get to that because Luque smoked him early.
I remember that fight. Yes, that was quick. Very quick work. I think... No, what I was actually thinking about was the other way, which is, how does Michael Chiesa respond to the punching power of Vicente Luque? Because Michael Chiesa at welterweight, as we've been through, has fought a couple veterans, fair enough, no big deal with that, RDA and Neil Magny. No real punching power coming back the other way. You get Neil Magny with his, awkward, pressure rhythm sort of punches that sort of punches and bunches basically that can disrupt you. But no one is actually going to walk forward, apart from Beneil Dariush, but that was at lightweight when Chiesa was killing himself to get down to lightweight. That is what I want to know, is how will Chiesa respond to this zombie, basically, who's going to get up and just keep throwing bombs at him? Because, go on.
Well, no, I mean, there was an assumption built into what you said there, and that's that he's going to get up. That's the question for me.
Well, he's going to get up at the end of the round, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's where he's going to get up, because Michael Chiesa has, I think, from what I've seen, some of the lowest strikes landed per minute. He lands at 1.89. And
that was our big criticism, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That it doesn't do enough when he's in those dominant positions.
Yeah, and
to be exciting, he doesn't have to win the fight.
Yeah, exactly. But he on average, he gets 3.6 takedowns per 15 minutes, which is very high. Basically meaning he gets one takedown per round, and he keeps you down for the entire time. Still absorbs at 1.71 strikes per minute, meaning that it's basically a 2-for-2 ratio. Whereas Vicente Luque, the same but different, landing at 5.74, absorbing at 5.78.
Mate, should I say it again?
Go on.
Nico Price, Mike Perry, and Barberena. Nico Price twice. I mean, geez.
Yeah, he just wants to go forward and sort of land, basically.
What have you gone for? Come on, stop teasing me.
Chiesa by decision.
What is it? Chiesa by decision here too.
Yeah, it pains me. It pains me because...
Yeah.
Oh, Vicente Luque, please just... I want to see him in a
I mean, we want more of that, don't we? We want more of Luque.
Less of Chiesa. No, I don't know, because I like Chiesa. And could you imagine if Michael Chiesa fights Usman for a title?
But, mate, you talked about Mourinho and going defensive, You've got a guy who dominates on the top but has no meaningful offense. You've got the guy who defends is 1-0. And that picking Chiesa, it's,
It's a sensible decision.
Yeah.
It's a sensible decision.
Mourinho's Chelsea versus Atletico.
Yeah.
It's a...
Yes, it's a great fight. I'm really excited for it.
All right, go Joe. Time check. How long we done?
At current recording, this is without editing. At current recording, we're at 33 minutes.
All right.
Well on track, so don't you worry about the time check.
Listeners, come in with some feedback on that. I don't want you flooding the inbox here at Hold On, I'm Talking Brother, because I know Joe's holding down a job outside of this. Not quite sustaining us yet, is it?
No, not yet. No, once we get the sweet Patreon money.
Yeah. All right. I like that. So,
Aldo Munoz. I almost said Aldo versus Luque, for fuck's sake. Aldo versus Munoz. This is a banger.
I mean, I was gonna say, if you picked Luque Chiesa as your fight, I think it's got to be Aldo Munoz. These guys are perfectly matched. More swanging and banging, both on the front foot.
Yeah, both land at high rates as well. Munoz higher than Aldo by about 2 strikes per minute.
Which is which is something. I mean,
Yeah.
That's a huge credit to Munoz.
Yeah. Although I wonder how much of that is the Cody Garbrandt fight, where he's. I think that might have done his numbers up quite a bit. Pedro Munoz has been on an interesting run. Do you remember the Frankie Edgar fight?
He won that fight.
He won that fight.
I remember that.
He won that fight, and the judges gave it to Edgar. I think two of them gave it 4-1, which is, or one of the judges gave it 4-1 Edgar, which is not acceptable in my mind. But anyway, love a bit of Pedro Munoz. Love Jose Aldo. The best featherweight champion ever? Yes.
Come back to it again.
You know it's true.
I mean, it's not over for Max Blessed yet. So
no,
yeah, I guess as things stand.
Yeah, I think so.
Aldo's longevity has to keep him retaining the title.
Yeah, but the quality of the fights as well. Like, they were insane. Those fights were absolutely insane. Particularly the Chad.
Until Holloway smoked him twice.
Or even the first one of that fight was incredible. Like, Aldo was landing on him in that fight, I should say. But anyway, let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about the present. Yeah, Aldo's run has not been particularly pleasant recently. I mean, he lost those 2 fights to Holloway, beat Jeremy Stevens.
With the liver kick?
Liver punch. And
was it?
And yeah. I remember watching that fight night, and I actually got a little bit, like, choked up, because I was so happy for him winning, and you could see what it meant to him. Beat Moicano. Lost to Volkanovski. Had the loss to Moraes, which
in his debut at
bantamweight. Lost to Jan in a title fight, which is bizarre that he got that after the Moraes fight, and then beat Chito Vera late last year in December. Does Aldo have one more run to the title for you? Quite the response.
Yeah. No. I mean, no. Have you got him? I mean, obviously him and Dillashaw would be very...
My God.
Yeah. I know.
Oh my God. Well, Dillashaw's probably fighting for the title next, isn't he? After Jan versus Sterling.
I mean, mate, one word answer: Aldo versus Sanhagen.
Oh my word!
You'd have Sanhagen.
There's three. I don't know, man. Yeah, I'd have Sandhagen. I'd have Sandhagen because Aldo doesn't throw leg kicks anymore.
Well, bizarrely, yeah. And in that, you've got your answer to whether there's one more run in it. The caliber is so high.
Yeah.
So high, and I don't think it's hard to know with Jose Aldo. Obviously, he's had a lot of losses, but against the best of the best. Apart from in hindsight, Marlon Moraes.
Well, yeah.
Who I kept picking.
I know. Well, do you know what the problem with Moraes was that he just kept coming back too quickly. He lost to Cejudo and he fought Aldo, I think, a few months later, which is insane. Hold on, let me just bring up Marlon Moraes here just to see the dates on this. Yeah, he lost to Cejudo, but then he fought in December. But it was a bad loss to Cejudo. Remember, like, he got beaten up, and that he shouldn't have fought for a year probably. Then he fought Sandhagen in October, and then he came back 2 months later and lost to Rob Font. I just think, yeah, that's a guy who needs to take some time off. But anyway, going back to Aldo, yeah, it's probably the top of the division. It's just a smidge beyond him. But Pedro Munoz is very much in his wheelhouse, I think. Pedro Munoz, by the way, has never lost by knockout submission, only by decision. And even those, I think 3 out of those 5 are all split decision losses, so telling you how close those fights are. What do you go for here? Do you go for the experience of Aldo, or do you go for the sort of freshness, if you can call it that, of Pedro Munoz? I mean, Munoz was a very limited fighter who's added quite a few wrinkles to his game. Do you think he's got enough to beat Aldo on the feet?
Well, yeah. There's one more. There's one more measure stick that we could chuck in, and that's durability. If it was a 5-round fight, I would be comfortable, very comfortable, picking Munoz.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I just think he can take punishment that Jose can't.
Mm. Mm.
And we've seen. I mean, we've seen that. We've seen Munoz just slug it out over 5 rounds, completely unfazed, and we've seen Aldo wilt and ultimately get finished in the longer fights on multiple times, multiple occasions.
So what are you going for then?
Munoz decision.
That's interesting. I've gone for Jose Aldo by decision. My original prediction when I first looked at the card was Aldo by knockout. I got very excited. And I had to go for Aldo by decision.
So remembering that you're sitting on a title, is that you?
Yeah, basically.
Range yourself in.
It's just like, I'm not going to have that full back push up so much. No, I think Jose Aldo has enough to bank 2 rounds against Pedro Munoz. And that's what I think is probably going to happen. I think there's going to be I think probably that second round is probably going to be the one where, I don't know, it's going to be the sort of swing round, I think. Because I think probably later on, Munoz will probably still be able to have that output that Aldo won't be able to. Still, great fight. Very excited.
Yeah, I gotta say, like thinking it through, it's just where Jose Aldo is at, really. If
he won his last fight,
if he's the
he won his last fight against Vera.
Yeah.
They both.
Yeah,
I mean, Munoz has only got on a 1 win streak at the moment against Jimmy Rivera. Who I mean, remember when Jimmy Rivera was going to be fighting for a title? That was what a long time ago that was.
It's still still a hell of a fight for somebody trying to break into the rankings. Though.
I know.
Got to fight Jimmy Rivera. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this guy's washed by this division standards, isn't he? I mean, his only knockout loss is to Moraes, and I mean, remember when he went into that Moraes fight, he was on a 20-fight win streak, I think it was. So it's crazy.
Yeah, amazing. And like Asunsao as well was also on a enormous run, and he's also washed by the standards. But imagine matching up with him.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
truly, you've gone right, Joe. I'm nervous about that, Joe. I'm not. I'm uncomfortable with my pick.
I'm super nervous about it as well.
I mean, I think the thing for me is, I mean, I've got the 3 point from the first fight that you gave me, so that'll carry through.
Wait, what the hell's this?
When you said that
your dong's going to knock him out.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Sunday morning, my neighbour's going to get quite the surprise when I'm going to be screaming your dong at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Misogynist that you are.
Yeah. It's very close, this fight, and I don't know. I mean, couldn't these guys do you think Munoz can get to a title shot? Oh, it's tough, isn't it?
It's really
like
tough,
does Munoz beat Rob Font?
I don't think so. I mean, Font has looked so good.
Bro, I love this division.
And he's got so much range.
I love this division so much.
On Munoz. God, killer jab and huge range versus like Mr. Durability himself.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing matchup again.
Oh, can I just ask this? Off of the last pay-per-view, by the way, just to go back to just to keep on bantamweight for just one moment. Sean O'Malley, who do you match him up with next?
I mean, are we getting back to like real fighters now? And
real fighters, real fighters.
Not just picking jabrones off the street.
Oh, he's so great because he got punched in the head 800 times. Isn't this guy so good? No, he's not. This is the definition of a bad fighter, but go on.
Yeah.
Who would you have him fight next?
I don't know. I mean, what kind of fighter is Sean O'Malley? Is he legit? Is he really going to run for a title, or is he another? He's had 8 fights. Jorge Masvidal, Conor McGregor, but just like 10 years before then.
Well, you're saying that he's had 8 fights in the UFC. In McGregor's 8th fight, I think he was fighting Aldo.
Yeah.
Like he's not getting a quick push, although he was getting the Vera fight, and they obviously was hoping he would move on from there. But maybe he fights Vera again. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, Sean talked a lot of shit, so.
And I know Vera would love that again.
I mean, I would have to respect that if he took that fight on.
I'd respect it as well.
You know.
I'd respect it as well.
Yeah. That he would be back in my.
Yeah.
My good graces.
Yeah.
I mean, he's fun to watch anyway.
Yeah.
Like I poor Chris Martinho, you know, but.
Don't head a ball for a while, but like, it's, yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But anyway, let's stay on track.
Yep, stay on track. He looked down then.
I did indeed.
His eyes panned across to the one note going into the pub.
Stay on track.
High professional standards again.
Derrick.
Hold on, I'm talking about it.
Derrick, the Black Beast Lewis versus Ciryl. What's this guy's nickname? Bongami. Ciryl Bongami Gane. The winner gets the interim heavyweight title. Bizarre we're having this fight. Although thank God we are, because if Nunes Pena had dropped off and there was nothing on top, that would have been for quite grim viewing, I think. Yeah, Lewis versus Gane. What do we? What do we actually make of this fight actually happening?
Well, I don't want to end enter the final stretch on a bit of a bum note. We should be building up to the kind of encore right now, but I'm not really excited about this.
You're not?
No, not really.
It's, you know what? Do you know what it is? It's a heavyweight title fight, and Ngannou's not in it, and that's always disappointing, isn't it? Like, there should be Ngannou versus Lewis. Like, they've got a multi-fight deal at this arena because of COVID and all that. They can keep going back to Texas as much as they want. Why don't you just go back in a couple months to Houston for Gane versus Ngannou in Houston, Lewis versus Ngannou? I mean, actually saying that, I know what the schedule is, and maybe it doesn't quite work out that way. But, like, it really just boggles the mind that, like, the UFC are screwing up Francis Ngannou this much. We talked about it on the last episode, but, like, Ngannou should be having another fight booked already. Unless, do you feel like maybe he's going to have another fight sooner than later that we don't know about? Maybe John Jones?
That's the only potential. Well, you mentioned Brock Lesnar coming back, didn't you? But
Mate.
John Jones would seem to be the only possibility if he is going to fight soon. Yeah, I'm in the same bandcamp as you. Like, what should happen anyway? Yeah, it should have been Lewis and Ngannou in a few months. And I also think, I mean, let's be real now, Joe. Let's be real. You've not picked Derrick Lewis to win this fight.
Why'd you say that?
You've not done that.
Why'd you say that?
All right, you've not done it. You've not done that, Jeff.
Why?
Not if you want to be a serious champ. You have not picked Derrick Lewis to win this fight. There's just nothing on there. So, like, it's, you know.
Listen.
Obviously.
Listeners don't know this, but I'm currently wearing a Korean zombie t-shirt, and that zombie mindset has come over me. Should we? All right. Shall I make my prediction? And then break
what
it
I was
down?
going to say. Well, let me assume that you have not picked Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis, right now, he deserves to fight for a belt.
He does.
Right? He deserves to fight Ngannou. He's already beaten him once. It was
in stunning fashion, obviously. But...
Well, it's an itch to scratch for both of them. You know, I know Ngannou obviously isn't super happy with that fight on his record.
No.
So it should happen. You know, Lewis has been a complete draw and a lot of fun. And, you know, him and Ngannou is a really exciting fight.
Yeah.
And Ciryl Gane is going to totally neutralize Lewis, and you just can't make that Ngannou-Lewis fight later on.
I think
there's no need to get Gane fighting Ngannou right now.
No,
there's no need.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Guy's only been fighting 3 years, you know.
I know his record is incredible, 9-0. Is it 9-0 that he's at right now? That's ridiculous. It's hold on, we're both bringing up his record right now.
Just let him bubble away a bit.
Yeah,
maybe add.
And the guys he's beaten are really legit, like Junior Dos Santos, Rosenstruck, Volkov. These are guys with big names attached to them, and he's beaten them, well, easily in some respects. Like the Volkov fight, I just felt like that was one-way traffic the whole way. I thought. No.
Yeah. Well, largely. Well, it was like 60-40 the whole way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
And never looked like flipping the other way.
But he's got an undefeated Muay Thai record as well. This guy is like unbelievable. He's a fucking specimen to look at.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? Give him a few more fights, let him build up his highlight reel a bit, let him show a bit more personality, and you know, like make that eventual Ngannou fight all that more exciting.
What you do is you put him on the undercard of Lewis Ngannou against who's washed. Who's someone who's washed that you could put out there? Stipe, and then you know, let him take on Ngannou, because the story of Gane versus Ngannou is there. The guy who left his coach, and then the new young protege comes up, and they used to spar together, blah, blah, blah. Brilliant. And then you got the great Lewis story as well. You're taking away 2 title fights, and you're getting 1 instead. I mean, I still think...
Joe, you're talking sense.
I still think Lewis, if he loses this fight and then wins the next one, he could still get a title shot. Like, it might even be the case, like the Frankie Edgar deal, you know... Oh, thank you for fighting Brian Ortega and getting smoked, but here, fight this jabron, and then you can have a title shot. Like, you know, it's true though. It's true that could.
Yeah. I mean, in heavyweight, you're only ever 2 fights away, right?
In heavyweight, you're only ever 2 fights away. Indeed. Is that a country song? Let's. Yeah, he beat Cub Swanson after he lost to Ortega. By the way, do you remember that? He fought Cub Swanson 6 weeks after getting knocked out by Ortega. That is ridiculous. Anyway, we stay on track. Stay on track. Can I give you my prediction?
Yes.
Ciryl Gane by knockout.
You're looking at me, Joe, like you're wondering if that's enough.
What have you gone for?
That's enough to retain your belt. If you.
Well, I know I know I'm retaining my belt. That's not even debatable. Go on. What have you gone for?
I've gone for Ciryl Gane. No shocked noises there. I've gone by knockout as well.
Body kicks, right?
It's just too much for Lewis. It's too much, too long. 25 minutes getting fucking worked.
Bro, he lands quite a bit, 5.13, and he absorbs at 2.6. Like, he doesn't get hit that often. The problem is that Derrick Lewis has just got an absolute haymaker waiting for you. And if you're a bit slack, and if you're a bit off, he's going to land on you. I mean, Curtis Blades shot once. Oh. He shot once. And he's been relegated to the Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix. Like, he's just like, yeah, ride that contract out. You're getting fucked off, pal. Yeah, that's the only thing. And I've heard there was a thing that was online the other day. Apparently, Ciryl Gane has told his training partners, "Stop." Go on, you tell this.
Well, mate, just fuck all that technique. Leave that bag at the door and just spam overhand rights at me.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a fun night for Derrick Lewis, and I think he's going to get finished, which is a shame. A real shame, because we were going to have a great fight in Ngannou versus Lewis. It was not going to be like the first one. And instead, we're going to get Gane versus Ngannou, which will be great. But that's not going to be easy for Francis, is it?
I mean, well, just going back to Derrick Lewis, I have felt this level of conviction before about him getting neutralised. Actually, more than once.
Well,
against
Well, the thing is that he lost to a washed Mark Hunt. He lost to a washed JDS. He was losing to Volkov and then proceeded to have the most amazing comeback. Do you remember where you were when you watched that? I remember where you were. Where were you when you... When you in
go on.
When you in Singapore?
Yeah, mate, yeah.
You were in a Singapore airport watching Khabib versus Conor. Yeah.
That was in the pre-pod days before we made it.
Before we made it, listeners.
Before the big time.
Before the big time, indeed. All right, let's.
Before you got sponsored by Korean Zombie.
Right, let's wrap this up just quickly. Let's go through our predictions again for this card. Yudong versus Kenny. You've gone for...
Yeah, that's 2 points for me. Song Yudong by decision.
Yudong by knockout. Hill versus Torres. I've gone for Hill by decision.
I've stuck with Torres on being nicer, by niceness.
And what was the method?
Decision.
Of course. Chiesa versus Luque, both gone for Chiesa by decision. Aldo Munoz, you've gone for... Oh, he's regretting it, listeners. Oh, he's broken. I've broken him.
I'm a bit nervous about my Munoz by decision.
Yeah.
A bit nervous about it.
Yeah. But, hey, man, it's great to have fights where I'm watching this going like, please. Like, this gets me invested into fights that I wouldn't be invested in otherwise. Yeah, Aldo by decision for me. And then we've both gone for Gane by knockout against Lewis. It's going to be too much, I think, for Derrick Lewis. Like... Ciryl Gane is massive as well. Like, God, I wonder if Gane can really take a shot. Like, we haven't really seen that much, have we? So, I don't know.
No, I mean, of course, we like maybe you thought I might lean on Gane by decision here.
Yeah.
By the same method of victory as everyone else. I was kind of hoping you would, but Lewis gets hurt. This is the thing. He gets hurt, and then he covers up, and these fools keep stepping into that danger zone.
Exactly.
I think, but Gane has really shown no vulnerability.
I don't think Gane will fall for it either. I think he's a very intelligent striker. Anyway,
yeah.
Prelims, just very quickly. Early prelims. My boy, Manal Kate versus some guy called Ozzy Osbourne or something. I don't know. What's the guy's name? Oh, Odie Osbourne. Sorry. Please, Manal, please win, because this is embarrassing for me if you lose this and get cut from the UFC. Listeners, I hyped him up a bit before he came in from Rising, and it's not gone well.
It's not worked out.
It's not worked out at all.
They're trying the Sean O'Malley school of getting him back on track. They pick some fella off. Yeah. Sign up here to fight Manal Kate.
We spent this much on this guy, and he's done naff all. But Fiziev versus Bobby Green. My word.
Wow. Yeah.
Guys are ducking Fiziev. They're not taking his fight.
Is this enough for him to get in the rankings with a comprehensive win?
Yeah, for me, yeah. Yeah. Fiziev versus Tony, give it to me. I want it.
Oh, no.
Mate, every fight for Tony is going to be a battering now. Come on. If he fought Dan Hooker, if Tony fought Dan Hooker, and I know that Tony is the patron saint of this podcast, and we named it after him because we love him, but you're not picking him over Dan Hooker, are you? Maybe.
We'll wait for the matchup to be announced. Yeah, I mean, I like that for Tony. We talked about this before.
Yeah. We'll always love Tony.
I like that.
We'll always love Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, really. That's everything we've got, I'm afraid, listeners. We touched on other things. TJ Dillashaw, very briefly. How did you score that fight, by the way, against Sandhagen?
2, 4, and 5 for Corey Sandhagen, winning by decision.
Same here.
48-47.
Same here. Great fight, though. Great fight. We'll talk about this next week. But I want you to just think about it now, Tom. Coming up to last part of the year, I want you to think about your fight of the year, because to me, no standouts so far, and I want to talk about it next week.
All right. I like the sound of that.
Have a little think.
Tune in for that, listeners. Will do. Time check, Joe. How are we doing?
58 minutes and 20 seconds. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
All right. Bring it home.
Thank you for listening, brothers and sisters. My name is Joe Greenwood. As per usual, I've been with my boy Tom Ballum, UFC 265. Tom, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hyped are you for this card?
6.5.
Yeah, a gentleman's 6.5. As I say to the girlfriend. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Thank you very much. Hopefully under an hour with all the music and that bollocks. Thank you very much, and enjoy the fights, one and all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.